And we begin this hour in Boston. It is day 4 of the Irish firefighter rape trial against the defendant, Terence Crosbie. He was visiting Boston with fellow firefighters to walk in that St. Paddy's Day parade last year when prosecutors say that he raped a woman at a hotel. The alleged victim, who has decided to remain nameless, says that she had consensual sex with another firefighter who was rooming with Crosbie that very night. She claims they fell asleep in separate beds, but later awoke to Crosbie raping her. Crosbie is expected to testify in his own defense at some point today. For now, let's get you back inside of the courtroom for more testimony from the senior DNA analyst. She's on cross by the defense.
Now, in mixed YSTR results, the detected number of male contributors can be fewer than the true number of contributors, correct?
We estimate the number of contributors in a YSTR profile. We can underestimate the true number of contributors, as a true number of contributors, it cannot be known.
Right. So even though you detected a mixture consent with 2 males, there could be additional male DNA present that did not appear due to a dropout, correct?
That is possible, but the data supported a mixture of 2 individuals.
But it's possible that there were more, right?
Sure.
And that is especially possible when samples are collected within a multi-day window where DNA may be degraded or present at very low levels, correct?
Objection. Overruled. You may answer that if you understood it.
I'm not sure of the specifics.
Okay. Well, are you sure that the collection window here encompassed up to 120 hours?
No, I did not.
Okay, but do you know male DNA can last up to 120 hours?
Again, I don't know the specifics.
Okay. Well, do you know that over the period of 120 hours, degradation and low copy number increases the risk of dropout?
Yes.
Now, from your testing, you obtained a YSTR profile, correct?
Yes.
And you interpreted that profile as consistent with a mixture of at least 2 male contributors, right?
Consistent with a mixture of 2 individuals, yes.
But your conclusion was inconclusive, correct?
No comparisons or conclusions could be made on that mixture profile.
Specifically, you could not say who was included in that mixture, could you?
Correct.
You stated clearly in your report, no conclusions can be made on that profile, right?
That is correct.
You could not attribute that DNA to any specific individual, could you?
That is correct.
You did not report that Terence Crosbie was included in that YSTR result, did you?
We reported that the mixture was not suitable for conclusions or comparisons.
You did not make any conclusion about Mr. Crosbie at all, did you?
Correct.
And inconclusive results do not support any identification, do they?
Objection. Sustained.
Nothing in your YSTR analysis allowed you to identify Mr. Crosbie as a contributor to that sample, did it?
Objection. Sustained. You've been through this.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You were asked about something called trace evidence or trace DNA. What are some of the factors that can determine whether trace DNA can be detected on an item of evidence?
Why don't you clarify what trace DNA is?
All right, what is trace DNA?
So that's low levels of DNA that may be present on an individual, in a sample, a surface.
And what are some factors that determine whether trace DNA can be detected on an item of evidence?
Whether or not an actual DNA transfer event occurred, time since that DNA was deposited, the storage conditions of a sample may also affect that as well.
And what are some reasons why trace DNA might not be detected on an item of evidence?
Again, if a transfer had occurred, and also the amount of DNA that was deposited may also impact that.
In this case, was there any evidence whatsoever that you're aware of that contamination of samples occurred prior to you receiving them?
No, and the associated controls that were processed with the DNA extract did not show any signs of contamination.
Nothing further. Thank you.
So I know you just said that there were no signs of contamination, but you also said on cross.
So you're going to repeat something.
No, Your Honor.
You just said.
I'm going
repeat
to
what you
clarify.
said. If there's something new, you may have it. But this is not a last word situation. If there's something new, go ahead. If there's not, you don't need to ask.
No further questions, Your Honor.
That is not the first time the judge has said those kinds of things to defense counsel in this case. Why don't we go ahead and bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. Matt has been following this case. Matt, talk about it. Where are we in this case right now in Boston?
Yeah, well, we are right now on an extended lunch break. And after that testimony, we're waiting now for the colloquy of this defendant and whether or not he's going to address the court and say officially if he'll testify. Waiting on that. So right now behind the scenes, he is seated with his defense attorneys. So this is all after the state rested its case in chief after calling 15 witnesses over 4 days. The state's final witness was a Massachusetts state trooper who described the dramatic arrest of Crosbie after his international flight had already taxied to the runway for takeoff at Logan International Airport. This is video from on that flight. Now take a listen.
We had alerted Customs that we were working with Boston Police, and they sent representatives to that gate area. And as a result of that, when the doors were opened at the gate, Customs boarded, and I boarded behind them. But
And do you recognize this to be a video of you assisting with the removal of a passenger named Terence Crosbie from a flight on March 16th, 2024?
yes, that would be my view from my body camera.
Yeah, so this is testimony you're about to hear from still. The defendant booking that flight right after his police interview, his initial interview. The defense claims that he simply wanted to get home to his wife and kids. But prosecutors, they are trying to say that he was trying to flee the country, and that's part of their case in chief.
Yeah, and he'll be asked about that. Why was he leaving? Because, yeah, like you said, it was several days later that he was supposed to leave, but decided to leave that day. And to be fair, he was told by authorities that he was free at that time. So, Matt, what else are we watching for in this case?
Well, the big question, right, is he going to take the stand? He did before. So Terence Crosbie is expected to take the stand today in his own defense. And again, he did testify during that first trial. But first, the defense is expected to call a few witnesses, including their own medical expert, like this man, Dr. Rosenbaum, who was voir dired outside of the presence of the jury today. He was asked about the body's impairment at the same weight, the BMI, and blood alcohol level as the accuser. Take a listen.
It imbalances your ability to stand upright and walk without falling or bumping into things, such that it is frequently associated with injury. Falls, head injury notwithstanding, it leads to changes in behavior that aren't seen when people are sober, that they manifest when they're intoxicated, etc. There are many different effects.
During Crosbie's first trial that ended in a mistrial, remember this is a retrial, there were 5 days of testimony. We're on day 4 here, and the jury deliberated for 22 hours. As you know, he faces 20 years behind bars if he's convicted, and in real time, they've rested. We're on this break. We're waiting for the defense to start their case, but we have a little bit more testimony to share with our viewers.
Yeah, get everyone caught up on this case.
Yep.
Matt, thank you so much for that update. Appreciate it.